Good afternoon. Happy Mother's Day and welcome back to Kevin Toll Reads. Today I have a book review of Binary by Michael Crichton, written as John Lange. This is my first adventure into the hard case crime books written by Michael Crichton. This book was published in 1972, which happens to be the same year that this story takes place. The summary of the story is pretty basic, like most of these stories are, but it's really well done. The premise is you have a government computers hacked, you have information that is leaked, and the next thing you know, you have government issued weaponry that is seized in espionage, including nerve gas. And you come to learn of the main antagonist, a gentleman by the name of Wright, and he may be kind of this ultimate kind of kingpin, government person who may be too smart for his own good or too smart for the U.S. government and Defense Department. On the flip side of that coin, you have Security and Intelligence Officer Graves, who may be also equally smart and methodical and knowing who and how to stop Wright from what he plans on doing. Or is Wright smart enough to handpick Graves because he's always 2 or 3 steps ahead? This is the beauty of the premise, and it really just does a really good job. I was sucked in from the beginning. So let's talk about what I liked about the story, and probably some mild spoilers, at least touch on some spoilers here, but the pace was fantastic. It was phenomenally paced. When it comes to hard case crime books, you kind of have, it's a hit and miss type thing with different authors. This is obviously my first foray into hard case crime under Michael Crichton when he was writing these books under the pseudonym John Lange. I've read, obviously, Lawrence Block, Hard Case Crime, and I'm going to dive into some other authors as well in the near future. But they're short. This book was 215 pages, and most of the hard case crime books are very short, and they're written very concise and tight. And so you don't get a lot of character development. You don't get a lot of backstory. You kind of sometimes you just drop in like a parachute into the middle of all the firing going on, and you have to kind of figure who's the good guys, who the bad guys, like you're in war, so to speak. And this definitely has some of that, but I think Crichton does a fantastic job in 2 regards. It unravels, the premise, who's on the right side, who's on the wrong side, who may or may not be the good supporting characters, and who might be, and makes them interesting enough to where you want to continue to read, all while just rushing the plot to the point like you're on a freight train and it's downhill. The other thing that Crichton does really well, and he does not only with this particular hard case crime book, but with his other books as well, is he obviously heavily researches books. He's very academic, or was very academic before his passing, and how he researched and came up with all his ideas and made sure he was very analytical about his premises of his stories, and you can tell he did so here as well. But at the same time, it's not overly scienced to where it takes away or detracts from the reading enjoyment of the story. I mean, again, 250 pages, I was ripping through this thing. I really also liked the book and how it's set up. You get these excerpts, and it's kind of like an hour by hour kind of thing. It reminds you of one of those TV shows where, I don't know if it was 24 or whatever, like you get like, here you're getting closer to this deadline, and you kind of learn about that as you go through the story, that there is a deadline, there is an agenda by this guy, but is he too smart, too far ahead of them? And so it really is ingenious on how he did this. The really cool, another thing I really liked, it was obviously this story takes place in 1972, and it doesn't feel dated. He doesn't really go into stuff that really timestamps it enough to where you could read the story now. I mean, it's 50 years later, and it doesn't feel dated at all. So I really enjoyed that. In terms of dislikes, I really don't have many. I don't really have really any dislikes. I really, really enjoyed this book. Um, there's, again, like I said, like some of these you dive in and it takes a while to kind of figure out what's going on. I felt like this was an easy one to figure out in terms of who's on the right side, who's on the wrong side, and what the premise is. And it just kept tumbling downhill and getting momentum. I mean, the climax is just fantastic. I mean, the last 60 pages, like I couldn't put it down. So in terms of rating, I gave this a 4.3 out of 5. It was definitely a very good book for me. I really enjoyed it. It definitely creates these positive vibes in the sense that I want to continue to read more hard case crime books. Definitely want to try out the other hard case crime books from Michael Crichton. I have 3 of the 8 that he has written under the pseudonym John Lange, so I definitely will need to be on the lookout for the others, but fantastic. I highly recommend that you pick this book up. If you get a chance to get one, whether it's new or on a deal or a thrifting or wherever, I mean, definitely look for the Michael Crichton Hard Case Crime under John Lange, and particularly Binary. I really think you would enjoy it, especially if you like the thriller and the government and the kind of mystery type thing. It's right up your alley. So with that being said, I hope you're having a great Mother's Day. I hope you're doing something special. I probably will have my wrap up out later this afternoon or evening. It's going to be another busy week for me, so I definitely want to get a jump start on that and talk to you about what I've been up to and what I've been reading and what's on the horizon. So have a great rest of your day, and thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it. Thanks. Bye.